Okay, the Backstreet Boys are one of the most recognized singing groups to ever come out of the boy band pop craze, with legions of female fans, a sexy look, and sexy lyrics. So would it shock you to know that one of those boys has a solo Christian album coming out tomorrow? Backstreet alum Brian Littrell may be surprising some fans with the release of his Christian solo record, Welcome Home. But to Brian, it's still about great pop music, although this music has a message. Brian Littrell joins me now live from Atlanta. Brian, welcome to you. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Brooke. How you doing?
Doing great, thank you. I have to point out first, a lot of people may be surprised to hear this. I mean, as a Backstreet Boys, girls, of course, worshipped you. You were part of a larger-than-life pop group. You sold 74 million records. Now here you are coming out with a solo Christian album. What's going on here, Brian?
What's going on? Well, that's the question and the topic of the hour. I grew up singing in church in Lexington, Kentucky as a child, and I had an opportunity to go to Cincinnati Bible College and study youth ministry and music ministry, but that was just before my cousin Kevin called me to become a Backstreet Boy. So this has been a long time coming. Welcome Home, my CD comes out tomorrow, and it's truly a homecoming of faith in my venture into Christian music, of where my heart has always been.
So you've wanted to do this for a while. You say you have been a Christian since you were 8 years old.
Yes, I have.
Brian, you were born with a heart defect. You almost died when you were 5 years old. How has that changed your life and impacted what you're doing professionally?
Well, I think the events in my life have always kept me close to my faith, close to my God, and close to my family. When I was 5, I had a staph infection called bacterial endocarditis that I was not supposed to live from. So in my early 20s, I developed, we talked to specialists and found out that my heart was enlarging due to my murmur that I was born with. So there's been significant events in my life that have happened that have always kept me close to my faith, and I think the fans, the dedicated Backstreet fans, know me as a person, and hopefully they respect me as a father and a husband. That's who I am.
Brian, let's talk about some things that may have tested your faith. You obviously had some pretty racy songs, suggestive lines as a Backstreet Boy. At times, I'm guessing your faith must have weighed heavily on you in that world. Tell me about the photo shoot with Rolling Stone magazine. You really stood your ground, didn't you?
I did. There was an issue for Rolling Stone magazine that wanted to paint this picture about the Backstreet Boys that I didn't agree with. It was a shoot of 50 young ladies who were not dressed in the background behind us. And, you know, our world that we live in today kind of paints pictures of pop stars as they can have anything and do anything that their heart desires. And for me, as a husband and a father, that's not what I wanted. So I stood strong in my faith, and I'm accountable to my God. And, the article ended up turning around in my benefit and getting a chance to talk about my faith and why I'm here and why I do sing with a God-given gift.
You got to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. That's right.
You have to.
And talk to me. You have some interesting thoughts on violence and crime in terms of today's youth. Do you think that pop culture has something to do with that? And do you think if pop culture changed today that we would see an improvement there?
I think so. I think our pop culture and our society that we live in today, if artists like myself and other artists that are in the pop culture can stand up for what is right. There's so much violence that we see on TV and on the news that is happening in our world. And I think our pop culture promotes some of that in the movies that are out there, in the videos that you see on the video programming. And I think standing up for something that is right, and that's, kind of why I'm here. And I think if we take hold of it, we can help nurture our youth, because they are the future.
Very quickly, 10 seconds. Will we see another Backstreet Boys album?
This summer we'll be back in the studio for hopefully the end of the year release. Was that 10 seconds?
That was very good, Brian. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming on with us and sharing what you're up to now. We appreciate it. Brian Littrell.
Thank you very much.
You can get Brian's album Coming Home. It's in stores tomorrow.